What is going on to all my Secession fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot here today, and listen, you see this smile? I am so excited to be talking about the first episode of Season 3 of the best show on television, that is HBO Secession. We're breaking it all down, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait to cover this show every single week on Sunday, so go ahead and mark your calendar. Every single Sunday here at Movie Files, we will be talking about the latest episode of the best show on television. But before we break it all down, do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, check me out on all my other social media accounts. You all are new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. If you enjoyed this spoiler review of episode 1 of season 3 of Secession, well, make sure to like and share the review. It really helps out the channel a lot, but also appreciate the support. And in those comments, once you've seen this first episode, because again, we're talking spoilers, this is season 3, so I assume you've seen the previous 2 seasons if you watched the premiere episode, so let's talk about it. Team Logan, Team Kendall, who's going to be on whose side? Let me know your thoughts on this first episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you excited about this new season? Let's talk about it all in the comments below. So for me personally, I'm so excited to be covering this show. I've watched this show since season 1, every single episode. I recently binged all of season 1 and season 2 in the last couple weekends just to kind of catch myself back up, get back into the thick of things with the Logan situation and Kendall and the Roy family as a whole. And I am just so locked in right now. Like, I remember every single plot, every single storyline. So I want to be the expert on this show every single Sunday, of course, talking about it with you all. So again, mark your calendar every single Sunday. Secession, we're going to be breaking it down, but this episode was fantastic. Whose side are you on? I'm picking for Kendall, guys. I am a Kendall fan. I mean, the shit that he did in season 1 and just seeing him just be so deflated in season 2 and just seeing him, that big bombshell he dropped on everyone in the finale, I'm all about it. Shiv, who she's going to lean towards. Obviously, Connor's a wild card. Rome, I think he's going to stay with his dad, but it's just so much about this first episode that I love, and I'm just so excited to be back with this fantastic show, the best show on television. But again, let me know your thoughts on the show, on the premiere, and let's talk about it. So let's break down this episode 1 as we open up with father and son. Again, literally minutes before I start watching episode 1 of season 3, I had just watched the finale of season 2. I just want to know from you all, because we really didn't address it in the finale, nor did we address in this first season. Was Ken's move, his power move, this bombshell of calling out Logan and calling out everything, him covering up and his negligence to the situation with the cruises, was it premeditated, or did Logan, when he put his son under the bus, is that when Kendall said, I have to defend myself, I have to protect myself, I have to go after my dad? How do you all feel about that? Was it premeditated? Was it something that just came out of the blue once he was thrown on the bus? Just let me know your thoughts on that. But neither here nor there. Again, that bombshell last season, it gave me chills seeing it for the second time. And we're preparing for war as Kendall's in the bathroom getting ready for war. But we got to talk about his dad here for a second as he lands. And it's been so long since we've seen Logan be off keel. Like, he doesn't have a plan. Like, you can clearly see throughout this episode, and especially in this scene here, that bombshell that his son threw on him after thinking his son was a traitor in season 1, bringing him back in because he held that kid's death over his head, which we'll talk about that in this review. But it's just like seeing the legend Logan Roy just being off keel, being off his throne. It's just something to see. Like I said, we haven't seen this since season 1 with him having that heart attack, but nonetheless, he made the killer move. Logan said that his son Kendall didn't have the killer move, and this is a killer move if I've ever seen one. So seeing them go back and forth this season will be a sight to see. And again, Kendall makes his way out of the bathroom and he's ready for war. And I'm so glad to be covering this show because I don't think this gets enough praise. The intro. The intro of Secession is the best intro that I've heard in years. It's one of my favorite intros. Like, it is my favorite intro on current television, and it just gets me in the mood. And I'm like, let's go to war, baby. So we open up, and one of my favorite characters is Greg, without a doubt. Greg and seeing Tom on screen is some of the best stuff on television, and if they ever do a spinoff with those characters, I'm all about it. But leave it to Greg. No comments, as Catalina's like, you don't have to say no comment, Greg. Just don't comment. Again, I just love the comedy beats in this show, and the drama obviously is fantastic. But Greg, one of my favorite characters. But it's time to pick sides. Again, we see Catalina, who's been there since season 1. She's kind of bounced on the fence. She's like, she happened to be with Kendall during the news. So Kendall's like, I don't need any loose ends. I don't need any half foot in, half foot out. You're either with me or against me. So he kicks her out of the truck, and it's leaving right now. Jess, Kendall, and my boy Greg versus Logan, aka Thanos, Who do you think is going to win? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But again, is that a good team that Kendall has right now? I think the secret weapon is Greg, because we know he had those documents that he kept since season 1. He always said he wanted to keep that as a contingency. When Tom thought that he burned them, he took them and put them in his back pocket. I'm telling you, Greg might be an idiot. He's a smart idiot, though. And this, like I said, Greg's my boy. But time to see more of that family drama as Shiv and Rome are discussing amongst themselves. Is their dad toast? Is it time for the reign of Logan Roy to meet his match, and it's time for him to retire, time for him to maybe get locked up in jail? I don't know, but they're having that discussion, and this is the one of many discussions that I think Shiv, in this premiere episode, she's going to end up joining Kendall, because there's many examples that we've seen throughout the first 2 seasons, but in particularly in this episode, her father doesn't believe in her, so why would Shiv continue to protect her father, to root for her father, if he doesn't believe in her? And that's one example when they're having that discussion about the toast. Clearly Rome is just like a scared boy, and he has to go by the side of his dad. But I'm telling you, that would be something to see if Roman ever leaves his dad to join the side of Kendall, which I'm telling you, if the family, the kids, the children can get on the same page, they could take out their dad, or not necessarily take him out, but they can have some more control that they wanted to, because it's always so fascinating seeing those grown-ass adults with their own business moves, their own families of a certain extent, how scared and how little they feel when they're around their dad. So if they can just team up, they can push each other up. But again, that's the beauty of the show. They all have their own self-interest, and they can never be on the same page. But as we go into this conversation, as Kendall gets the call from his dad, and we saw this in the preview when he's talking about grinding his bones, and Kendall has his retort, his rebuttal back to his dad, all that stuff is hilarious. But again, it's the killer card. It's that killer mindset that we haven't seen since season 1 for Kendall. Well, I should say take that back, because Kendall was pretty killer in season 2 when he was given demands from his dad and firing all of Lawrence's people and all that stuff. So he has that instinct, but now he has that confidence. He has that swagger that we haven't seen since season 1. But the question at hand is, again, going to the boy situation of season 1, will Logan ever use that against Kendall? We know that he didn't intentionally kill the boy in the season 1 finale, but he killed him. He got away with murder. Is Logan going to use that card at all in this season? Because if he does, let's be honest, he covered it up for his son, so he has his hands dirty in the situation too. But let me know in the comments, will Logan hold that death over Kendall? Will that make its way out to the media? Let me know your thoughts on that. But moving on, we see Roman has plans to destroy his brother and Shiv. This is another example of Shiv not really being on the same page with Rome and with her father. She's like, I don't think that's the best idea to come at him right now. But Logan's like, okay, well, we need to go to the presidency. We need to go to the president. We need to get our government officials on our side. But moving on to my boy Ken, as he makes his power moves throughout the episode, he calls Frank, which we know him and Frank have a really great relationship, and he doesn't have Frank's talk, but he says, Frank, which we all knew they have the best relationship. When the time comes and I start this new company, I want you to be my side guy. I want you to be on my team when that happens. So I think Frank will be making a move pretty soon, but if they try to call Jerry, she's on the phone with the president, and he even calls Shiv, but she hangs up on him. But again, seeing Kendall it's like playing chess, making his chess moves is a very smart move at this point. And he has a lot more people to call. Again, who will join his team? I can't wait to find out. But it sounds like most of the higher ups in the government are siding with Logan for the moment, but there are some people that are against him. So again, it'll be really interesting to see these parties. Who's going to pick the Civil War? Who's going to go on whose side? But I think right now, most of the government is siding with Logan. But how much longer will they be doing that? But gotta check in on my boy Greg, who is checking the social media temperature on Kendall, and they're talking about the Pope following him or whatnot. But, you know, Kendall brings up the love card. He's in love with Naomi, and I don't know how I feel about Naomi still. Obviously, she's part of the Pierce family and has her drug issues that she knows about, which brings up, Raya, which should be making an appearance in the season, Holly Hunter's character. But I don't know, man. There's something about Naomi that just kind of feels a little bit off. I don't know if she has any ties to Sandy and Stewie's situation, but right now, Kendall, he's head over heels for this woman, but I'm going to keep my eye on Naomi for now. But again, going back to just seeing Logan in this episode, him being off his game, again, not seeing him since season 1 being like completely lost, being off keel. It's like seeing Darth Vader after Return of the Jedi, like him not having, before he made the change, obviously in Return of the Jedi, like him not having answers, not being menacing, not being scary. That's what it was like seeing Logan in this episode for me, as he doesn't have any plans throughout this entire episode, which is just like mind-boggling. foreshadowing. But we get a very awkward moment between our favorite couple, and that's Shiv and Tom as they say their goodbyes, and they're going on different planes at this point. And again, my question for you all in regards to how this season's going to play out, especially with these two characters, by the end of the season, will they still be married? Because obviously Tom brought it up to her in the finale last year. He's not comfortable with an open marriage, especially the way that she threw him at him at the altar on their wedding night, that she wants to have an open marriage. But will Tom and Shiv be together by the end of the season? Will they be on the same side? Will Shiv be on Kendall's side? Will Tom be on Logan's side? Or will it be reversed? Let me know your thoughts on whose side who is going to be on, especially with our power couple there. But speaking of power couple, haven't seen this character in a while, Rava, who is obviously the ex-wife of Ken, as she is allowing him to use his place as kind of like a hideout spot. But again, seeing her back in the mix is really cool because I love seeing characters from the first season. She was a really interesting character, no less. But again, he's telling her that he made this power move more or less, obviously for his own reasons, but also because he wants to protect his family. And we can't forget, season 1, Grandpa Logan hit his son with that can. So there's some animosity there, no doubt. So it's really interesting to see how they're going to play into the season, and him having his own family, creating his own legacy, and not being in the shadow of his father. But the whole conversation gets brought up in regards to this Lisa Arthur character, who's a very well-known lawyer. We see that Kendall wants her, we see that Logan wants her, and we're going to talk about who she decides to represent a little bit later. But again, it's wartime, as we're seeing Logan just, again, no plan. He's just like, I need someone to temporarily step in as CEO. I'm going to step down for a little bit, but who is it going to be? It's going to be Carl, as he puts his name in the mix. We see Frank puts his name in the mix. We see Rome tries to put his name in the mix, but ultimately he throws in Jerry, which that relationship, I don't know if they're going to go that route at all. They've been playing with it since season 2, but just seeing Tom calling Shiv, and Shiv's like, I want to do it. I want to take on this mantle, but knowing that she doesn't get it just is another example of why she is getting closer and closer to being on her brother's side. But it's back to check in with my boy Greg, as he is canceling his mom's credit cards, and she's buying into a bunch of nonsense stuff, which is another storyline to look forward to. Will his grandfather completely cut him off since he's still working with the family? It'll be really interesting to see where all that goes. But I just love Greg, just seeing his point of view on situations, the way he carries himself. And again, he's a smart idiot. I know Greg is the butt of the jokes and always the last man to know things, but he's smart, man, and I think he's smart to pick Kendall's side. It might blow up in his face, but again, I'm always rooting for my boy Greg. But neither here nor there, back to Ken. Again, man, I really enjoy seeing this version of Ken, seeing him last season being a puppy dog and just literally doing whatever his father says, having no emotions, just being emotionless, because obviously he killed someone. He knows that was covered up, but he also knows that his plans of being the man that he wants to be was completely undercut by him because of the decisions he made. So seeing this version of Ken, which we haven't seen, this confident, swagger, happy-going person since season 1, it was really fun to see in this episode for me. But I'm not going to lie, it is tricky to see this confident Ken, because we know when he has this much confidence, sometimes it leads down that path of drugs and regret and bad decisions. So hopefully he can find a way to balance himself out in this season. But we see Rome again making his name into the mix, but he ultimately brings up Jerry, which ultimately leaves his dad saying, Rome, he's out of the runnings because he doesn't have the spine. He doesn't have that killer instinct that needs to be there for that CEO position. But we go back to the situation at hand with who's going to represent who, where we see Shiv. Again, she wants this position. She's trying to get this lawyer on her dad's side, which she ultimately doesn't side with her. And we even see Shiv says, hey, I need to protect myself. Can you represent me? She shoots her down because, unfortunately, Kendall has already gotten her ear, and she will be representing Kendall. And again, just seeing them making these moves, who's going to pick who. And this was another example of Shiv. She's like, my brother's making good moves, and I think she's going to be making that move to representing or being on the side of her brother sooner rather than later. But again, seeing that whole subplot of Jerry and Rome, as Rome, Jerry's going to be it. She's going to be the temporary CEO at the moment. And, we see Rome tell Shiv the news and sings her a song, which, again, I think it was at that moment Shiv was like, you know what? Just like we saw Kendall do last year with her dad throwing him under the bus, I think when Shiv knew that her dad picked Jerry over her, that was her moment to say, I'm wiping my hands clean of it. And I think she's going to make her way to representing her brother to take her dad down, which will be a very very tough matchup for Mr. Logan to go against the smartest kid in Shiv and having the most like business oriented and most business savvy person. Them teaming up, put Rome in the mix, get Connor in there somehow. It's looking like a power team if it goes that route. But again, my boy Ken, again, that confidence sometimes clouds his judgment because you talk about awkward. He's in his ex-wife's house. He brings in his new girlfriend while meeting this powerful lawyer, again, in his ex's house. This is the true definition of mixing business with pleasure. And Ken is just like, again, what are you thinking, man? But hey, to each their own at that moment. And again, you got to love the moment with Greg as he's opening up the bottle of wine that Rava didn't want him to open because he was given orders by Ken's new girlfriend. And again, the moment of that comedy and the awkwardness is just so fantastic. But again, can we trust Naomi and Ken making this move and fall in love with the Pierce family? We'll see if they'll bite him in the ass later in the season. But wrapping up this episode, as Logan learns that Lisa will be, which again, not even mentioned, one of my favorite actresses going up, Shania Lathan playing this character is going to be fantastic as the lawyer. I'm a big fan of hers, and I can't wait to see what she adds to the show and all the new characters. Alexander Skarsgård is going to be in this season and so many other new players. I hope that we get some of the players that we got from previous season, like Holly Hunter, but I'm really excited to see what Lisa brings to the table. But again, we see Logan in the episode walking outside. His hands are no longer on the wheels. He doesn't have control of his narrative. And end of the episode 1 of season 3, which again, I thought was fantastic. Seeing the power moves by Kendall, seeing the confidence that Kendall has, seeing some of the bad decision, mixing business with pleasure. He seems to be on a good path, but we know sometimes when he's on a high, he can get really low. So it'll be really interesting to see how Kendall will wind up in this season. Will his dad use that murder or use that death of over his head? Will he use that as a power move at some point? Because again, he's attached to it too. He covered it up. So it'll be interesting to see what Logan decides to use on his son. Who will Siobhan pick? Who will Connor pick? Who will Rome pick? Masha, is she still in the mix? Like I said, Holly Hunter, will she come back? Stewie and Sandy, how will they play into this season? I don't know, but I cannot wait to find out. I am so excited that the show is back. I love these characters. I love the narrative. I love the drama. I love the comedy, and this is the best show on television, and I can't wait to break it down every single week with you all here every single Sunday. So again, mark your calendars, hit that notification bell. That way you know when these videos will drop. So that's just my thoughts on season 3, episode 1. Let me know yours, pros, cons, thoughts, theories, everything in the comments. If you stuck around to this point in the video, I appreciate every single one of you all. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. That way you don't miss any of my other content. As you can see on the screen now, subscribe to my channel, check out my other content, and we'll see you on next week's episode of Secession. Take care.